What's up, people? Welcome back to the podcast. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. Man, okay, so we're going to be talking about some YouTube stuff, some Patreon stuff, the wrap-up of Shane Dawson, and about YouTube being broken. To start with, I guess I should really honestly explain about the Patreon stuff. I think that's where we should definitely start this. If you follow me on socials or on YouTube, then you will know what I've been going through with Patreon. I don't want to break this whole thing down. There is a video live on the channel which explains why I quit Patreon, but I think we should talk about this briefly on here just because of the fact that in the last two podcasts I've been explaining about the fact that it's brought to you by the Patreon supporters, and it is no longer brought to you by Patreon supporters because my Patreon account is now dead. For two reasons. One, because Patreon began by accusing me of fraud, which was obviously nonsense. And a whole load of shenanigans took place whereby they pretty much fed me a load of lies. They wouldn't answer a bunch of questions. They were asking me insanely personal questions. It was just insane. It was a whole mad mashup of just absolute piece of crap after piece of crap. And in the end, after fighting for 3 days for any kind of answers and any kind of anything whatsoever, it just was a shitstorm of trouble. And I'm fucked off to high heaven. I'm disgusted in the way that they treated me throughout the entire process, to the point that when they finally gave me back the page, after much fighting. I mean, at one point, they even said to me, like, we've cleared everything, we've deleted everything, because they deleted everything the same night that they accused me of fraud. Like, my whole page went, everything went, my account went. It was crazy. So they, they finally gave me my page back, and my response was to delete it, because I don't want to give them a single penny towards anything that we ever bring in towards the channel, because they can go fuck themselves. You know, honestly, just what a disgusting piece of shit of a company it was to deal with. Like, I still like stand by what I said even in my video, which is that a lot of people use this as a platform to sort of support what they're doing and aid the background costs of what everything costs to get everything done. And I think that's fantastic, and more for people. If you want to support people on Patreon, go ahead. It's just the company themselves are absolute douche canoes. I've got much better words, and I can even say them on here because I can't get demonetized because I'm not even slightly monetized for this. So, yeah, what a bunch of fucking arsewipes. So, long and short of it, we are no longer brought to you by Patreon. They are absolute scumbuckets. I 100% recommend you go watch the video. I'll leave it in the description down below this so you can go click it. Oh, go watch the video. Sorry, man, I'm getting riled up and angry and kind of a bit upset about the whole thing, just even talking about it. But yeah, it's just nonsense. Go check out that video. It explains everything in full. And man, you want to see this, especially if you are someone who uses Patreon. I recommend you see this video because you can be one up on them if they ever try to shit with you, man. So let's leave that there out in the air so that we can get all the shit out. Boom. It's done. My whinge is over. The trouble's gone. Patreon's gone. So don't ever go visit that again. So now we're going to move on to some better stuff, man. I want to talk about YouTube, viral videos, and kind of my highs and lows of YouTube. Let's start right back at the beginning. So I've had my channel now on YouTube for a real long time, man. It's been absolutely years. I think we're approaching our 4th year that I've been doing it for. And I've always loved what I do. It's freaking incredible and fun just to create and be creative and have people enjoy it, you know. I've always said this, for whether it be one person watching or a million people watching, it doesn't make a big difference to me. Like, it's just knowing that I'm doing something good. Now, don't get me twisted. If I suddenly went to a million people watching the videos per video or whatever, man, yeah, I'm going to be pretty fucking hyped. Don't get me wrong. But it still gives me joy and happiness to know that I'm creating for anyone watching. And like I say, whether that be one or a million, still the end result of that is still me being happy because you guys are happy. So my end goal has always been, when it comes to YouTube stuff, just to leave people with a smile on their face and they've enjoyed the content, whether it be like funny videos, serious videos, horror videos, you know, product reveals, whatever. It's always just leave people with a smile on their face, and you know, that's what makes people happy. It makes me happy. It's a whole round thing. Everyone's a winner by the end of it. Now, alongside with making videos every day, you know, I've gone through my highs and lows just in stuff like that, just in content creation sometimes, because you kind of, I don't know, I used to, back in the day, I used to upload 2 videos a day, and that was hard work, man. I don't know why I did it to myself for so long. It was a very, very long time. It wasn't until I got appendicitis about a year or so ago that I couldn't upload for a few days. It was the first time I'd ever taken any time out of doing YouTube, which is crazy, I know, because I'm like, especially at this point, I'm like 5,000-6,000 subs, and, you know, it wasn't much different to what it was now, to be honest with you, in viewers or anything like that. It's just that I took it so seriously, like too seriously, like almost dangerously serious. I would never miss an upload, no matter what it cost me. I just couldn't do it to myself, and I got myself in this place where I was like so worried about letting people down that I don't know, man, I kind of backed myself into a corner, and I couldn't fucking get out of my head. And like I say, I had the appendicitis. I couldn't upload for a week. I still did. Even with the appendicitis, the first thing I did when I got back from the hospital, like a couple of days after being in there, was straight away record a video. I can't even remember what video it was. There was one video I made when I very first came back, and it was like, I'm not dead, or whatever, because I'd done a little mini live stream as I went into hospital to say, like, you know, I'm fucked, mate, I'm going in. I've got to have a very minor organ taken out and ruin my week. Which is so, like, it's such a dark thing, but at the same time, man, if you don't laugh about these things, then what can you laugh at? But anyway, so that happened, and it really threw a spanner in the works for me mentally, because I was like, I gotta do this thing, I can't do this thing. And then, I don't know, man, a few people had mentioned to me anyway at that point, just like, dude, you need to just go down to like 1 video a day or something, man, take the stress off yourself. And I'd always sort of pondered on it and thought about it, and it's something, I've got to be honest, was in the back of my head for ages, and I was just like, okay, well, fine, you know, it's time. I'm just gonna go to 1 video a week. 1 video a week. I wish. No, that's not all I produce. 1 video a day instead of 2, and that way I can give myself more time to put into each video for better editing, better everything, you know, more attention into the game I'm playing. So all round I just win on every level, because it's an improvement on content, no matter which way you look at it. It's just good content coming out rather than okay content coming out every fucking couple of hours, which is a big thing to learn. And I took that on board. So that's, like I say, man, you've got these highs and lows where I thought I was doing the right thing, convincing myself, but actually I was doing the wrong thing for me and the channel. And that's how you kind of live and learn. But then, like, other experiences I've had with YouTube, probably the highest of highs to the lowest of lows for me would be my viral video that I got. That shit blew up so fast. And because it was like a video, not a group of videos, not even a bunch of things that I could even link back into or anything, it was like a single video for some unknown reason. Excuse me, turn a sip of drink. For some unknown reason, just went mad. And it turned out that this video was my Ben and Ed video, and I discovered by accident like a hidden ending that was in the game. Complete freak accident. The day I recorded that, I was literally... I had nothing to record. I was like, holy shit. And I really, by the end of playing that Ben and Ed game, I said literally in the last episode I played before this one, like, I will not come back to this. I fucking stressed me out, this game did. I don't want to play it anymore. All genuine anger. And yeah, then it turned out, like I said, I got back that day and I was just like, shit, man, I need to make something. I need to record. What can I play? The update had dropped for that, which contained the hidden ending. And then, yeah, Power Right in the Kisser, found it, uploaded it, and it just went berserk. Now, at the time, it was amazing, because I went from, I think I just ticked over about 500 subscribers when it happened. And yeah, it just went from 500 subscribers to 2,000 in like a couple of days. and then from 2,000 up to 5,000 over the course of about 6 months, I suppose. And at that point, well, at this point currently, we're standing this video still getting views at 3.8 million. So yeah, it went pretty fucking mental. So I mean, it took me pretty much to where I am today, you know. Well, yeah, it took me to, I would say 8,000 subs was where all of that video pushed for the channel. The rest of it, I think, from there on has been a lot more work, because it's not just coming off the back of that video anymore. It's now people subscribing for all the other kind of content I made, and that's cool. That's what you want as a YouTuber. You don't just want one video, you want every video, or at least a majority of your videos, to be responded to in that kind of way, you know. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, man, because what a ride. Like I say, it was just such a ride to go from getting 50 views a day to suddenly hundreds of thousands of views a day. So it got me into this place. Like, at the time I was like, oh well, this is it, this is the time, it's happening, guys. I've spent years putting time into this, and then all of a sudden, boom, my channel's going to be fucking massive, you know. If there's 1 million people watching a video, surely I'm going to get trickle down feed and loads of views on everything else, and grow the channel and become the next, I don't know, Jacksepticeye. But it didn't work out that way. Now, that was the hardest thing to deal with that I've ever had to deal with in my whole time on YouTube. Was accepting that it's not because I'm shit or anything like that, or any of these things. It's just the way it sometimes happens. Sometimes channels can get big hits on videos, and I know of other YouTubers that this has happened to as well. This isn't just like a weird phenomenon with me. It's something that happens quite a lot and quite frequently with channels, especially smaller channels. When you get that big viral hit, it's like mad. And I think what happens, in my honest opinion, is I think someone will subscribe to you to say, sick, you know, this video was cool, subscribe. And then what they'll do from there on is see low figures on videos and start thinking, well, what's happening to this channel that's failing or whatever? When it's not that the channel's failing, it's just that they're getting their regular views still alongside extra subs, considering this other video is going mental. And it kind of, it's like a spiral effect, and I think I still feel it to this day, which is sad, really, that because I've got a lot of subscribers and quite low viewings in comparison to subscriber numbers, it makes me look like I'm a dying channel. And I get comments all the time from people. It's so fucking hurtful, but I get comments all the time of people saying, oh mate, you want to do something about your channel, it's dying. And I'm like, see, the thing is, it's not dying, it's still growing. And it's not just about the subscriber count, you know, at the end of the day, especially in my case, because it makes me look that way, which is insane, man. This is what's frustrating, is I still feel it to this day, man. It still fucking burns me a little bit, because I'm like, maybe I've even honestly thought about starting another channel and letting this be what it is, and just, I don't know, starting in a place where I don't have that over my head, where I feel like I've got 10,000 subs nearly at this point, and I'm still getting sometimes between sort of like 20 and 50 views on videos. Like, more often than not, you're hovering around the 20 to 30 views on a video, which is hard when you put a lot of time into stuff. But at the same time, it goes right back to that feeling that I said about before, you know. Most days of my life, I feel like, yes, mate, I'm fucking nailing this. Even though it's 20 people that are happy, people are hitting like, and they're coming back at the end of the day, you know. And there's a lot of people that I've grown to really, really know through the comments, that have been around for so long. People that are just so nice and friendly, and they want to be a part of this, and I think that's amazing. It's the only thing that keeps me doing it, honestly. It's because the people that I know and see in the comments makes me so happy and proud to do what I do. I just keep coming back at it. But then occasionally, and it tends to be the day when I get the days when I get really snarky, horrible comments come through, basically calling me shit, you know, because I've got big subscribers with low views. So it's fucked up, man, how something that should be, I should celebrate so in a different way. Sometimes it feels like a burden when someone says, "Oh, you know, America." Well, you know, it'd be like if when I meet someone and they say, "Oh, what do you do for hobbies or whatever?" Because normally, you know, you meet people through work or whatever, so you know what you do there. You say, "Oh, yeah, I do YouTube," and it's not so weird these days. When I very first started YouTube and I said I did YouTube, people were like, "Right, what's that?" "Oh, the thing with the funny videos." And I'm like, "Yeah, not just cat videos though, bro. I make actual content or whatever." But yeah, no, you know, and then to this day, now you say to someone, they're like, "Oh, right, okay, what are you?" And you say gamer, and they're like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I'm like, "Well, you know, gamer, comedian sort of type thing." And yes, I don't know, man. So it's kind of mad, the difference between the way people view things. But anyway, going back. So I say to people when they say, "Oh, have you ever had any big videos or whatever?" And I'm like, yeah, there's one that's just under sort of 4 mil at the moment. And they're like, "Whoa, dude!" And then obviously suddenly people get a lot more interested, and they're like, "Whoa, how much money do you make from that or whatever?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, one video, it's great. I made some money out of it, sort of thing. But it's not just about money for me. It's not why I do this thing." And also, side note, then when they say to you, "Oh, what, you get a lot of views per video now, then do you?" And I'm like, yeah, it's all right. It's almost like I shouldn't feel like because I've got that big number in one place, I should be worried about the other numbers. So I don't know. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. But this is kind of what this podcast's all about for me, man. It's about airing out some stuff, talking about some things, being honest with you guys, and it gives me a great platform to do that on. So if you want to save me from myself, you can send in your questions, don't forget, guys. If you hit the up into podcast1@gmail.com, you can email me your questions and hit me up with anything. You'd also send me voice memos and stuff like that. Sorry, it's a tedious, I just linked straight into this, man. I don't even don't even know how I ended up here. But seriously, if you want to hit me up with those questions or voicemails and suggest subjects for the next podcast, you're always more than welcome to do that. I always do 2 other things well. I put out on YouTube if you want to see the video version of this podcast over on the channel. I always put out one of the what the hell do they call them now? What the hell do they call them, guys? I can't remember. Oh, community posts. That's what they're calling them now. I always put out community posts that you guys can get asked, "Do you have any questions?" So you can hit me up in that form as well. And also on Twitter @Rhys the King if you want to follow over there. Anyway, guys, send me in your questions. Send me in your subject matters that we can talk about within this podcast. I've said it before. I don't care what the heck it could be. It could be whatever you want it to be. I ain't afraid to talk about nothing. So just hit me up and we'll approach it. Please don't try and troll me though, because I will pick up on it. Honestly. Anyway, going back into what we were just saying about with the highs and lows of the viral videos and of YouTube in general. It's a mad place to be, man. If there's any questions that you have on those sorts of things regarding even the things that I'm talking about now, there's a lot more I could talk about on them. But if you have any of those questions, man, hit me up, because I'd love to know what your questions are towards the channel, you know. Do you yourself think sometimes, are you caught up in the loop of what I've just explained? Like, do you ever get caught up in the loop of bigger subscriber count to view ratio? Have you ever thought, "Damn, Daniel, are you failing, Rhys?" Well, here's some news. No, the channel's not failing. We're doing all right. We're still ticking over. We're still pulling in enough to make it all worthwhile. It's really not in a bad place at all. If anything, I'm just getting started. When this hits off one day, and I know it will, and I ain't talking like PewDiePie big, I just know that we'll get better figures and it will have its time to shine at some point, man. I'm a true believer that if you put enough hard work into anything, you'll eventually find your feet and you'll eventually succeed. So you just can't expect that shit to fall on your doorstep without a little hard work, guys and girls. Keep that lesson, remind yourself of it on a daily, because that shit's important. If you want to succeed in anything you do, hard work, man. We'll get there in the end, don't you worry. And I know that you loyal fellas and ladies will be the ones that will be able to say, "I've been a subscriber to this channel since fucking 10k, or I've done this since 5k, whatever, man." I know some of you have been there since very, very, very low subscriber counts. So, to you guys, you are the true fucking... Oh, I don't even know, man. You're like the knights of the kingdom. You know, you're the ones that keep everything flowing. I like it. I love it. It's fucking awesome. Come. If you're not part of the kingdom, you should be. But yeah, welcome to the podcast, not Rhys the King's gaming channel. Anyway, some other stuff I want to talk about. God blimey, this is all YouTube related today, man. YouTube! Is it broken? No. Well, that actually is a subject later down the line. But no, the thing I want to talk about next is I want to finally finish talking about Shane Dawson. I haven't even put it in the title or thumbnail or anything in this because I'm not trying to attract any attention to it. I just want to wrap up for those of you that have listened to all the podcasts so far. I want to just wrap this up because I know quite a few of you don't actually follow the story outside of the podcast, and that I find very interesting. It means you care about my opinion, and I am grateful for that. So, Shane Dawson thing. The final things to come out after the last podcast was, I think, one more video on Jake Paul where they actually sat down and talked about it finally. Finally. But yeah, it was crazy. He pretty much owned up to all of his douchey behaviour. In a nutshell, he accepted a lot of his flaws. He wasn't a sociopath. And everything was pretty hunky-dory at the end of it. One thing I will say very quickly about this subject is that undeniably, man, I ended up feeling for this fucking douche. I didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy feeling for this twazzock. But it made me open my eyes a little bit to the fact of how much of a show this all is for him, you know? Ugh. The other side of YouTube, basically, when it's not people being people anymore, it's people being personas. And I know we all, as YouTubers, as all of us, in fact, have a persona that we play out to on this, you know? But there are some of us that don't add too much to it, and Jake Paul is not one. Clearly, everything he does is a load of nonsense. So much of it seems staged, and the rest of it that isn't staged is just very bad, quick choices. And that made me realise that he is still a person. He's not a complete twat, which is kind of nice to know. It's actually refreshing to see that this guy isn't such a fucking loser. Not as much of one as he puts himself out there to be. But I also think by the end of it, he had learned something about himself, which is, holy shit, I'm a fucking loser. And it's about time that I changed a little bit when I have as much influence as I do. So yeah, I think in the end of it, maybe something good will come of it. Perhaps he'll become a better person. Time will tell. His brother's still a bit of a loose cannon. If I'm honest, I'd like to see a series on his brother, because he's a bit more of a interesting character, all in all, to be honest with you, and a bit fucking dangerous in the head. But is he? Shock horror. Looking into the mind of the brother to the other brother of brothers, the Pauls, a bunch of fools, a bunch of idiots. Tonight, we take a look very deep into the psyche of YouTubers. Watch them feed on the views of 9-year-old Army. Watch them suckle from the teat of YouTube as they drown themselves in the YouTube monies, while the rest of us get demonetized for dropping an F-bomb. Bra ting ting. I've been David Attenborough. Bra ting ting. Out I go. Bra ting ting. That'll do. So there's my impression of the evening. I think that pretty much wraps up the whole situation with the Shane Dawson thing. Nice to have it done with. Nice to never have to talk about it again on this podcast. Nonetheless, though, I did find the entire situation very interesting and very fun to sort of take the journey watching alongside the other sort of, I don't know, like 18 million per video that we're enjoying it. So, interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. The final thing I want to speak about is the fact that There's a lot of chitter chatter going around YouTube at the moment about it being broken. Now, one of the first videos I actually saw coming up about this, I'd seen a lot of people mention little dribs and drabs of other things, but not directly addressing it in the same way that this person did. And this person was Markiplier, actually. He's trying to bring light to the situation about how broken YouTube's been lately. And I don't think you could speak to a single YouTuber who hasn't experienced some sort of break in the system at some point, because YouTube just loves to mess with their stuff and not test it first and just kind of public beta test it with everyone. First to lose are always the creators. And I think I can speak for everyone when they can honestly say that they've had enough to an extent with this. Not enough to leave the platform, because I think everyone who does do YouTube actually does still love the platform. And I think if YouTube changed around the way that they handle things, I think people would still fucking love YouTube as well, man. Like, they don't have to do much damage control with what's going on, because I think everyone loves this platform. And I still think even when people are smack talking YouTube, it's kind of like when you're having a go at Big Brother. You know, you still love them, but you want to punch them in the face at the time or something. That kind of feeling, you know? So, yeah, the big thing at the moment is that Google are deleting Google+, which is like their social media that they really, really tried to push onto people. Essentially, you couldn't even create a YouTube account without making a Google+ account at one point. And to be verified on YouTube, you had to have 1,000+ followers on Google+, which is a weird system to say the least. But it was what they were doing at one point to force this contender of Facebook at the time on people. It's kind of like the T-series, if you get that reference, of social media. But it's still not, it still failed abysmally. Not many people use Google+. It's fairly pants. I will use it occasionally to push a few links out to people for videos and stuff if I think something's relevant. But that's purely because I have it there and I might as well use it to my gain, I suppose. So, yeah, it's a fucking dead ass place to be. It really is dead compared to any other social media. So they're killing it. They're axing it from the greatest of heights. Slice, goodbye, you've been severed from the Google body, you weird third nipple bastard. So, that's what they think of Google+. It is the awkward third nipple. So, let's get rid of that and keep Google and YouTube being just what they are, baby. So, yeah, what they're kind of saying is that because it was so heavily built in to the entire algorithm and coding of YouTube that what's big on fucking Google+, blah, 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 everything's all tied in, you have to have the accounts, everything like that is so deeply tied into YouTube that when they axed Google+, about a week or so ago was the same time that YouTube went freaking down for an entire evening. Then they ended up having to turn Google Plus back on to not have this be a problem. Now they're in the process of slowly killing Google Plus and removing it from YouTube as to not fuck things up. But what people are saying is because this is happening, they're getting like weird anomalies happening. Like the other day, I uploaded my first Red Dead Redemption video, and for some unknown reason, when you watch the first 30 seconds of it, I suddenly go like that sort of noise happens in the background, but I'm still talking. It's just like this weird code error that happened where someone's like almost screeching in the background, but it's a human voice. It's actually kind of something to behold. I don't understand what the hell it is. If I had have had time, I would have re-uploaded, but honestly I didn't have time because I haven't been able to be back on my PC for like a weekend since then. So I just didn't have time to re-upload it again and hope it fixed the error. Because if I listen to my end or the edit of it, I don't have that happen. It's the weirdest thing. I've had that sort of happen, and a few other things, like the obvious things, like stuff not going into sub boxes. I think that's all everyone knows about that sort of stuff. That's why you hit that bell icon, guys. If you're a fan of any of your YouTube channels that you care about, hit the bell icon. You have a much fucking higher chance of actually receiving their videos. So who knows? Yeah, especially do that. Just do that. Make sure you bell icon everything. So yeah, a few things like that. Audio issues. I've heard actually other people complain about that. And just a whole bunch of things, man, like view counts not working correctly, sub counts not working correctly, people having issues with videos not processing, all sorts of things like that, which is weird. So this is just the beginning of seeing what the issues could be. As they fuck with the code more, will they fuck with our YouTube more, you know? And we all care about YouTube, whether you think you do or you don't. What's the first thing you look for a tutorial on? What's the first thing you look when you look for a review of something? You know, people are using this tool without even realizing they're using this tool. So YouTube is very built into all of our hearts and souls at this point when it comes to the internet and its usage. So, you know, it's not going anywhere. It's the same as Facebook. As much as we all probably think it's a pile of crap, it ain't going anywhere anytime soon. And a fuckload of people use it on a daily basis. So it ain't going nowhere until something better comes along, which is going to take some serious go power to make something better. Well, not even better, but as popular as something like that. I mean, it can happen. I mean, look at this fucking TikTok app. If you're not familiar with this, it's a thing where you put small clips together, almost pretty much like Vine, but longer with some special effects. That's pretty much the way I could describe it. So, you know, Vine died. They killed Vine, and then this TikTok comes up now. Just longer. It's like longer Vine to me. That's all I can say. You know, piece of shit. But I guess some things can rise out of the ashes of the fucking, you know, some like phoenix rising out of the ashes sort of situation. But it just turns out it's piece of shit following a piece of shit trend. So, hey, just my opinion. I don't get it, guys. I'm not old. I just don't get it. It doesn't appeal to me. But yeah, so Crazy Town. Fucking hell. I've been rambling for like half an hour straight, purely on YouTube stuff. I apologise if this hasn't been what you wanted it to be, but I'm not sure what that could be, because the whole idea of this podcast is about the fact that every episode is different. We haven't got one resounding subject that gets carried through. It can be anything and anything you want. I want this podcast, as I've said many a time before, to become a big community effort. I really want, honestly, to have a new bunch of subjects every episode that you guys are suggesting to me, and just basing the entire episode off of that without me actually having to put my thoughts on pen to paper. I want it to be something where I'll research what you want me to do, and that be my pen to paper, not just me trying to decide what to make an episode about each episode. So that's the dream, guys. For the love of Rhys, get your questions in to thepodcast1@gmail.com. Hit me up in that bad boy and let me know your shizzle, bizzle, fizzle, izzle, whizzle. And we can start producing maybe more podcasts more often once we get more material. I mean, I just love doing this. It's so natural to me to just sit here and talk. I love it. Because of what I do with YouTube anyway, this is just like an easier version of that for me, because it's just my thoughts. I'm not talking about anything else in particular, like games and stuff, or being distracted. I'm just sat here watching my voice appear on my screen whilst jibber jabbering stuff into your ears. Oh dear. Holy crap. That's my cue to probably wrap this thing up. But yeah, another great podcast under the belt, guys. I'm really loving doing this. It's such a nice outlet for me. It's a good place for me to come and just talk and rant and put it out to you guys, and hopefully give you a better understanding of what it's like to be Rhys. And also, just, I don't know, maybe if some of you are YouTubers, this might resonate with you a little bit. Did I say YouTubers? Then this might resonate with you more than if you're not. And if you're not, maybe help you understand even what small-time YouTubers go through in their thoughts with what they're doing, you know? So, fuck, man. Guys, I love you so much, man. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for enjoying another long episode. And let's keep this shit going, man. Thank you for joining me on this podcast. Man, go follow it on iTunes if you're on YouTube watching this, and if you're on iTunes listening to this, go check it out on YouTube. We have an amazing animation on there from an awesome animator that did the little background animations for it. I said animations too many times, animations, so we're going to end this podcast. If you notice, there's a running theme. I say a word too frequently at the end of every podcast. Today's word is animations. So I'll animation my way out of this and say goodbye. Bye bye.